All right, so this is the June 30th meeting of the Eastern Essex District Veterans Board of Directors. Doug Dawes from Georgetown,
Here.
Mike Flynn from Essex,
Here.
Mike Doyle from Newbury. We know you're here. Bob Snow from Rowley,
Here.
Bob Janes, West Newbury,
Here.
and I am Linda Alexson from Ipswich. And we also have Karen Tyler, our director, and Kathy Collins, her assistant.
Okay.
And the treasurer.
Oh, yes, sorry, Karen Summit, the treasurer. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, we're going to go a little bit reverse in the agenda here because Linda has to be somewhere tonight. So we have a director's review. We'll do that very first thing. Everybody got a copy of the director's review appraisal. And the appraisal came in at a 4.3. And that is a very good, good appraisal and performance. Karen has done remained fully operational during the unprecedented COVID pandemic restrictions, including partnering with various agencies and to address food and clothing insecurities and other issues, seamlessly executed the VA benefits and Chapter 115 claims to the veterans within the district, kept public and board informed of office status and staff contact information during the pandemic, attended various virtual meetings, training and events, obtained and presented 2 Korean Ambassador Peace Medals. And so that is the first sheet. And you can, I asked everybody to peruse the document. And it was a very good appraisal for Karen this year under very difficult circumstances. So anybody have any comments on the appraisal?
No, I just want to, I think a lot of the comments speak for themselves. Karen, I just want to thank you for doing a fantastic job, like Bob said, under very challenging and unusual circumstances. You and Kathy have come through quite well, and I know speaking for Ipswich, we're really pleased. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Karen. I think you did a marvelous job under very difficult circumstances with COVID this past year.
Yeah, it's been a difficult year for everyone, that's for sure. But I think that, you know, taking care of our veterans and their families, staying in touch with them, especially, you know, with the food insecurity, and we were able to get some meals out. You know, we checked on people and, you know, food pantries and things like that. So I think, you know, not only us, but the community as a whole, people really stepped up and really, you know, got involved in between all the donations and stuff like that. It's really been in some ways impressive. Sometimes it takes circumstances like this to really, you know, have some heroes stand out. So I was happy with the way that things went.
Terry, I'm very happy in Newbury too. I finally joined on. So thank you from Newbury, really, thank you for all you've done.
The only thing the board would ask if you'd would go to Toastmasters and take a couple of public speaking courses. That was all. And I think that's anybody in public service. I think that's always, I think, not a problem, but an issue that you can always hone your hone those issues of public speaking. So as you can see, I'm having a problem right now. So.
And Bob, it's Toastmasters or something of that ilk. You know, yeah. We're not set on that specific brand, right?
Yeah, something along those lines. There's a number of courses you take it online, or you can sign up for that particular. There's a public speaking by a group called the Great Courses. I've taken the course myself, and it's helped greatly. And I think I probably need a refresher course after tonight. So with that, do I have a motion to accept the appraisal?
Motion made.
For who was that? Bob James? Did you?
Bob James, yeah, so moved.
I'll second it.
And second, Mike Doyle. All those with the roll call vote?
The point of order,
Yes, Doug.
your suggestion on a public speaking course. Oh, there it is. I missed it the first time around. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments, Doug?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. With that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor with a roll call vote, Linda?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want?
Yeah, could you do the roll, please?
All right. Well, I'm a yes, obviously. Doug Dawes,
Aye.
Mike Flynn,
Mike Flynn, aye.
Mike Doyle,
Mike Doyle, yes.
Bob James,
Bob James, aye.
Bob Snow.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you
Very
again,
good.
Karen.
And we're going to move on to, and again, out of order, vote on offices. We have a list of offices. Linda to be secretary, myself to chair. Anybody wish to be chair? I'll be quiet now if you want to be chair. This is your moment. Okay. Okay. Linda, you wish to remain as secretary?
I will. Thank you.
Okay. We have an opening of vice chair. Does anybody wish to fill that seat?
If nobody does it, I will do it.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Okay, that is the list of officers that we have for chair, myself, for vice chair, Mike Doyle, and Linda as secretary. Do I have a motion for that list of officers?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second, I'll second that.
Okay, do I have with a roll call vote? Linda, please.
Doug Dawes,
Dawes, aye.
Mike Flynn. You're on mute, Mike.
Aye.
Bob James,
Aye.
Mike Doyle,
Yes.
and Bob Snow.
Aye.
It is unanimous.
Okay, so moving on, we don't have any minutes, correct?
Right, and
Karen?
yes,
Okay.
yep,
Yeah, so,
Eileen has gotten married and she is on her honeymoon right now.
So we're not gonna chase her down on our honeymoon to get
Yeah.
those minutes. Well, we can wait until after the summer. We wish her,
Oh,
Eileen, a very wonderful honeymoon. So with that, moving on to financials. With that, Karen, this is the end of the year.
Does everybody have the financials, and has everyone had a chance to review them?
yes.
Yes.
So these financials have most of the expenses for the year in them, with the exception of the last 8 days of the fiscal year for salaries. So if you look at the budgeted versus actual for Karen and Kathy, those will be reduced to zero. So that's about, another $4,200 roughly. And if we take that off, it looks like, we'll end the year about, between $8,000 and $9,000 on the positive side.
Right.
There were some areas like professional services, legal fees. We left some money in there because of the pandemic. The travel and education lines have some balances. The health insurance lines have some balances because when we budget for those items, the towns are still estimating what they think their increases are going to be, and it turns out that it was actually lower than we thought. So are there any specific questions on the financials?
Well, yeah, just, this is Doug, so you're saying that we only spent roughly $300 on legal
Yeah,
and professional?
yep.
Okay,
Yeah, that was all, we had one bill from the law firm. At one point in time, we had talked about, possibly having some auditing work done, but the board never reconvened and decided that was what they were going to do.
Hmm.
Uh,
how often would an audit be recommended?
well, technically an audit is a standardized procedure that's either required or not required. I think what we had talked about was more of a financial review. But we kind of left it hanging. We could definitely have Powers and Sullivan or another auditing firm take a look at the financials just to review them. But I will say that the bank statements are balanced every month. We have a warrant process that Karen and Bob and I sign off on the warrants.
Mhm.
But that's something that if you want to have that done once we close out our books, that should be something that's on the next agenda for the next meeting, because really that's kind of something you want to do after you close out your books.
Yeah.
Karen, how much would that cost us?
It really depends on the scope of what the board would like to have done.
Okay.
I would have to go back because I know we discussed this at a meeting, maybe 3 months ago.
Mhm.
And, it really depends on the scope of what the board would like to have done. So if the board at our next meeting, or even before that, could say, okay, we want to have kind of a review. We want to have someone come in, take a look at the QuickBook file, take a look at the bank statements. I can definitely get some pricing on that and bring that back to our next meeting. But the last time we talked about it, it was kind of like left hanging up in the air.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to understand the price before we sign off on it and the scope. I have confidence in the work that's been done here, and again, there seems to be controls, but it never hurts to understand what the cost would be for a process.
Right, and if the board would like me to go and, say, okay, here's the kind of review that we would like, how much would it be? And then bring that back and have that on the agenda at the next meeting. And then the board could say, yeah, we want to do it, or no, we don't want to do it. Sorry, that's my dog.
My dog's next to me too.
May I just ask a question? When was the last time such a audit or look at the books was done? Do we know?
Well, this was back before I started, but when Karen started, I'm not sure exactly how the financials were done back then, but I know that that Jim Powers, took a look at the financials and came up with some financial statements, which when I started, I then input into QuickBooks. So 5 years ago, maybe, Jim had taken a look at what they had, which wasn't great, and come up with financials. And then when I started, I input all of that into QuickBooks. So, it's probably been that long.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I think that we're going to have to do something anyhow, given the reduction in the size of the district and the financial impact that is. So this would be a good time to do a thorough look-see of our finances and see where we're going to make things up.
Yeah, I don't think it's like if we were talking about, the electric company or water department or something like this, this is a very small operation compared to
Right.
those. So, and mainly the revenue comes in from the towns and it goes out through professional services. So,
Exactly.
so again, it's very small. I think maybe talking to somebody like Powers and Sullivan and ask them about the cost and what the scope would be. And I imagine the scope would be very small compared to any of those other entities that I mentioned.
Right. And remember too, that audits are backward looking. So, what they're going to do is take a look at, okay, here's all of our assessments. Okay. Yep. Here's the bank statements where they all came in. Here's your expenses, but it's not really going to advise you on, what you could do in the future, given the reduction in size. I mean, I think that's something that the board has to look at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's something that as we go forward, and I think we should prepare for that for our next meeting in, say, September sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just suggesting that it's an opportune time because we'll be looking at all the financials anyhow.
Yeah, I think.
I agree with Doug. I like what Doug says there.
Yeah,
Also,
sounds good.
can I mention real quickly, can we
Sure, Mike.
have a live Zoom meeting? We're meeting live again in Newbury, so I'd like to, I think a live meeting has a lot more energy in it and stuff.
Yeah, I think our next meeting, when we go back and I would say September,
Okay,
and we'll do at the table.
okay.
Okay,
I would like that.
that sound good?
Sounds
Sounds
good.
great for me.
Okay, so,
I apologize, but I have to leave. I have to go to a live meeting actually downtown. So have a
some of
great
us are
rest of
having live meetings, actual people we're looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, have a
Linda,
good rest of the meeting.
Thank
And
you.
I will catch up with you guys soon. Thank you.
and thanks for your hard work on the appraisal, Linda. And
My
Mike.
pleasure.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, with that,
Are there any other questions on the financials?
yeah, any other questions? If
No, I
not,
mean, everything looks good. So.
Yeah, I mean, like Bob said, we get our money from one place, it comes in and, we spend it as budgeted.
okay. So, do we need to vote on that, on the financials? Karen, Karen Summit, do we need?
I mean,
Oh,
you can vote to accept them as presented.
Okay. Okay, can I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Who's that seconded?
I did for one.
Oh,
I think we're two of us.
Bob, thank you. Okay, with that, oh, Linda's gone. Okay, Mike Doyle,
Yes.
Doug Dawes,
Dawes, aye.
Bob James,
Aye.
Mike Flynn,
Mike Flynn, aye.
myself, Bob Snow, aye. Motion is accepted. Oh, with that, I don't think we have anything else on the agenda. So with that, unless, okay,
Okay.
Doug,
Other than the directors, well, we already did that, but other than the documents that Karen sent over later this afternoon.
okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, we have Karen on there for a director's report. No?
No,
Muted.
no, it's not on the agenda.
Oh.
But could you give us a little, what's going on, Karen, right now?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I just, at the very least, I just wanted to give you, the notes on what's been happening. But yeah, if I can have a few minutes, I'll go over it.
Sure.
real quick. Okay. And do you guys have it in front of you, or I can share my screen?
I have it in front of me.
I have it in front of me.
Okay. All right. So just kind of broke it down. So Memorial Day, again, it was, everything was a little bit different this year. So hopefully we can get back to, our normal course of action. But we had that video, and I believe some of the stuff I had sent to you, as it came up. For instance, the Memorial Day video that was done by the students, the Memorial Day events on the day. I went to Georgetown, Newbury, and Rowley. Kathy went to Ipswich. And so I also had a couple of individual meetings. So the teacher in Ipswich, she's a middle school teacher, sent me a PowerPoint presentation for Memorial Day. And the first slide said, thank you soldiers, past and present for your service. And we all know that Memorial Day is not a day that you say thank you to current soldier. First of all, not everybody's a soldier, you have an airman, you have, sailors, you have Marines. And so that's the first thing that was wrong. Saying thank you was also wrong. And it went on for 311 slides saying thank you for your service. So I met with that teacher over at the school, and I explained to him, I said, this is not a time, Memorial Day is not the day that you thank service members, for the service and everything. This is Memorial Day is to honor those who have passed away. And I said, Veterans Day is when you thank service members, and is when you thank veterans. And Armed Forces Day is for people who are currently serving. And so I just, I expressed my disappointment because now there's 311 students that are going out into the world thinking that you're supposed to say thank you at Memorial Day. So we had a very good talk. He knows moving forward it's going to be different, and he understands now the impact that it has and could have on people with survivor guilt, Gold Star families, and so I was glad that I was able to have that conversation with him. So I think it's going to be much better moving forward. I also met with a high school student today. He is very interested in talking with World War II vets. And I was able to, the two of us talked. I told him about different World War II vets that, that we've helped and stories that have been told to me. I spoke about the POW from West Newbury. And I am connecting him with other World War II vets that he could interview and to spend some time with. And I think that's something that will be really impactful for him. And it's great to get that multi-generational interaction. And so what?
Just real quickly, my stepmother who came to the veteran luncheon 2 years ago, she's got tapes of all the Newbury veterans she interviewed. And I don't know if he'd like to see that, because these are guys that have been gone for 10 to 15 years. So I can get those for you if you'd like them.
Sure. Yeah, I'll get in touch with him and, offer that up. So that would be a good connection. So I like to encourage and work with students as much as possible because I really think it's very, very important. And we've been so I'm really trying to, now that things are opening up, and I'd like to continue to be very involved in the community, to take veterans out, to do outreach programs. So we have a few things coming up. One, working with the North Shore Collaborative, which I sit on the committee for. And we're going to be doing a family paddling event on the Ipswich River. And it's looking, right now we have a tentative date. We just had another committee meeting with the Ipswich River watershed. So we're hoping the date's going to be August 15th. Another one is the Global War on Terror Memorial Bridge, and Kathy and I and Rich Barbado are working together on that project. We're also working with Senator Tarr and Rep. Hill, who submitted the bill, which got passed in both the House and the Senate, to be moved on to the Joint Committee on Transportation. And Kathy, I, and Rich gave testimony at that hearing. And I sent you guys a copy of the testimony that I submitted. We did it both oral and in writing. We're planning on doing 3 educational events leading up to it, and the ceremony for the bridge dedication, we're hoping is going to be on Armed Forces Day, which is in May of 2022. So there's going to be a lot leading up to that, and a lot that's going to be involved with that. Another event is going to be on July 3rd, and it's going to be lunches for veterans for the towns of Newbury, West Newbury, Rowley, and in Georgetown. We're going to be either delivering or people are picking up. We have 60 meals that are going to be prepared. So for that, it's, we weren't able to pivot. I know that it's much better to do something like that in person, but we wanted to do something. I got a donation from the Newburyport Bank, and so they're going to be covering the cost of that. So Essex did not receive, Essex wasn't on that because of more of, location. And I had spoken with the principal over at Essex Elementary School, and they did a drive and donated, they received $268 in donations. And so she's gonna give me the donation. She said we could use it any way we want. I, spoke with her and I said, is it all right? I'd like to do a luncheon. And also give an opportunity to give like a benefits presentation and have food there. And she said, yep, absolutely. It's for veterans, use the money as you see fit. And so I think that would be a great thing to get something for the Essex resident veterans. So that's a luncheon that we're going to be planning.
And just to interject, my daughter, unbeknownst to me, was part of that as a super
really?
council, and they did a camouflage sticker day, and it went over like gangbusters. So you never know. Sometimes things come full circle. So.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I know. And I was talking a lot with Miss Spell, and she was very, very excited about it. And so, we kept in touch, and I thought it was great to have the elementary school students that were very excited to do this project. And so in Newbury has a new COA director, and I've met with her. I actually was with her earlier today. And so we're discussing, and I'm going to be discussing with all the towns to start up their office hours again. And so that will be coming down the pike. And I did have my first office hours in Essex. I did it last week. And so, so that's, that's in the works. We also, when I met with her, we spoke about the veteran lunch that we're having on the 3rd. And I am scheduling a veterans presentation in September 1st at 10 o'clock. So that's getting into the newsletter, and that's going to be advertised. And even though it's going to be in Newbury, it's open to everyone and anyone. So we just want to make sure that get the word out, and we'll, because I wanted to have it before the students came back, because in Newbury, I actually am, so I think that it would be best to do it at the Art Center. And so the Byfield Art Center, and that's where we had the
Veterans luncheon.
burn pit that's where we had that presentation and the veteran luncheon we had there. So it's a good space to do something like that. So we're going to be putting the word out that
What's the date on that, Karen, again?
September 1st.
September, thank you.
Yep.
I'll work with them on getting space because we just addressed that at the last meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. And then I also did the 2 radio shows to, promote the office, to talk about veteran issues. And I sent those links to you guys. I don't know if you listened, but I feel like it went well. And they both hosts of those radio stations have said that I'm welcome back anytime. I can, anytime that there's something going on, I can promote it on their radio stations. Even if I want to do like a PSA, I can do that also.
Oh,
So-
good news.
Huh?
I said, good news.
Yeah. So it's a good connection. I'm glad, and they're both great. Definitely, they're advocates of veterans and their families, so that's great. And so I just like to give an example of, a positive, how we've done a good job assisting, sometimes an unusual situation. I had a veteran who I helped do a service-connected disability case, and it came back denied. And so we're like, why did it come back denied? And then when I read it, they said that they couldn't find the link between his hearing loss and his service. Well, he was an aviation mechanic. We're like, of course, it's related. And so when they made notes, so reading further, they said that he was a yeoman and that he was a chaplain assistant. So in one block, it said that he was an aviation mechanic. And then another block, somebody did a typo and it actually said, had the code for a chaplain assistant. So after we figured that out, I helped, and what I did is I filled out the paperwork and sent it to the Board of Corrections to get his DD 214 fixed. And I gathered evidence and stuff, and I was able to get documentation showing like, hey, look at all these documents that says he was an aviation mechanic. Like this was clearly a typo. And so after we got the Board of Corrections to fix his DD 214, we put an appeal to the VA for his service-connected disability claim. And it got approved. He actually got $17,000 in retro pay. And moving forward, he's going to be receiving $900 a month. So the family, needless to say, was very appreciative. They actually were like, all we really wanted was hearing aids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you got a lot more than that. So that's just an example of some of the different, scenarios we come across. And then the town leadership engagement, I went to the Board of Selectmen meetings in the towns, and, I joined Mike in a FinCom meeting. And again, just trying to, promote the office, talk a little bit about what we're doing and, I talked about the lunch that's coming up and things like that. So yeah, I think that, things are going well. I also shared with you a note that I just received from an appreciative family that I spent a lot of time working with for aid and attendance. I worked with both the husband, the veteran, and then he passed away. And then I continued to help the family with the surviving spouse. And she just recently passed away. I like to end it on a positive note.
I got a positive note for you. I really want to thank you. When we had the dedication of the police station, you getting the veterans there. I really want to thank you for that.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
it was excellent.
Yeah.
Karen, I just want to interrupt for a second. I think you bring up a very good point about trying to explain, especially to the civilian population, about the difference between Veterans Day, Armed Forces Day, Memorial Day, and to try to get that across. And I can understand, you know, in the atmosphere that we're in, people really want to, you know, say thank you, but they don't understand the appropriateness of each one of the holidays that we celebrate.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think that's a good point to get that, to maybe make that a point going forward to try to explain that to the civilian population.
Right, yeah, and so, and also in speaking with that teacher, they're gonna try, you know, I'm gonna work with them prior leading up to so they're going to Washington DC. So they do that trip, and I'm gonna speak with him, work trying to, and we'll get the names of Ipswich residents who are buried in Arlington National Cemetery.
Oh.
And so that way, when they're there for that DC trip, they can go and visit those people that are buried there. So, you know, we took something that, you know, wasn't great, and we're trying to turn it into a positive thing. And I think that will really kind of resonate with the students. So that's just another thing, you know, as things come across, we really just have to take these opportunities.
Good idea.
Mhm.
Any other comments on the director's report?
No.
Nope. Okay. Just to give you a little background, I was away for last week, and I went on I guess it was a history. I told Mike Flynn about this. It was like a history tour of the East Coast. So went to the brand new Army Museum in Fort Belvoir. It's the National Museum of the United States Army. It is spectacular to go to. It is, they have incorporated, we happened to be there the day that it reopened on Flag Day, which is the birthday of the United States Army. I mean, it is just first class to go and see that. Kathy, you'd love it. Kathy Collis, an Army veteran. So, yes, it was quite impressive. Then we were at the Marine Corps Museum. We went down to Richmond, Virginia. Saw my friend went over to the Confederate Museum, which is in Richmond. And then we went down to the Maritime Museum, which is, they have a mock-up of the Monitor. That was the fight between the Monitor and the Merrimack. And then we went to Appomattox, and then we went to the D-Day Memorial, and then up to finish in Gettysburg. So we were pretty well historied out by the end of 7 days.
Well, I want to see a complete picture of what he did.
Well, I'll be patient. I took quite a few pictures, so I'll put them up on Facebook when I get a chance.
Share some, really.
So with that, do we have anything else on the agenda? I don't think we do.
I have a question.
Sure.
I
go
might.
ahead.
And it's just because it's caused a little bit of a stir here in Georgetown. The schools decided to fly the rainbow flag. And there's an awful lot of people that have approached me upset. It was always my understanding that you weren't to fly another flag other than the POW MIA on the same halyard as the American flag. So I just bring that up with you all because I can't find anything really in the flag code about it.
I would bring up one thing. I think that's a town issue. It's what the town wishes to put on their main flag staff in the center of town.
Well, this was just the school building.
Again, I think that is probably a school issue, and what the school committee and what they choose to do. So I think that comes to a town issue, school issue, or whatever building that the flag is in front of. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I agree. I was just looking for input because the flag code was a little bit ambiguous in places, and especially since
Yes.
Mr. Biden allowed the State Department to tell the embassies they could fly it there. So it was ambiguous as to whether there was supposed to be other flags on the same halyard as the American flag.
Again, I think that comes down to, yeah, and you're right, the flag code, I have looked up the flag code about the national ensign and the POW flag. Again, that comes down to the agency and that is flying the flag. And
There was something I saw, Doug, about what wasn't your town, but somebody had it on one of the social media sites. And they basically said, the recommendation was, don't put anything else up, but because if you say yes to one group, you can't say no to another. So I think it's, just keep the American flag and the POW flag, and I think it's gonna be much easier for everyone.
yeah, I think it comes down to the agency or the town to make that decision on
Right.
what they want to fly on their flag staff. And, again, we can't control that.
No, we can't.
No, I know that. I was just asking for
Yeah.
my own knowledge in case I missed something someplace.
No, I think, I think you're correct, Doug. All I've ever seen on the flag statute is it's kind of ambiguous, and mainly what it says, as I recall, is the national ensign and the POW flag.
Yeah, well, just so you all know, I suggested to the superintendent, well, go out and buy yourself a couple of separate flag poles and run it up there.
Just
So whatever. I was just looking because I've been doing some research on it and I can't find it. Karen, do you have anything that maybe I missed?
In regards, I don't, because I
Yeah.
know that, because I know, in a lot of towns, and it's almost to the point that they do fly, especially, the month of June, the pride flags.
Well, yeah, well, right, but on the same halyard as the American flag?
While the American flag is flying.
Yes.
I think any flag can be flown long as it's below the American flag.
Well, right.
So,
I
All right,
haven't-
I just wanted to put it out there because I couldn't find anything and I was thinking, well, maybe I missed something someplace.
so, well.
All right, well, thank
Any
you.
other issues? Nothing else, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think that is unanimous. It looks like everybody's mouth moved at the same
Yep.
time. Aye.
Okay, well,
With that,
see you all.
thank you
see
so
all in
much. You have a
September.
good summer. Be
Have a
safe.
good summer.
And Karen, thank you.